It's about time. The Link monster is here. And just on time, guys, because right when we get the Dragunity Link to help us search Dragon's Ravine, the ban list takes away a way to search Dragon's Ravine by hitting terraforming, but it's perfect timing. I still have my little roguey kind of like spicy, not even really spicy because I only really won like one card different than a lot of other people. I've been seeing a lot more Dragunity profiles, but if you've been keeping up with us, I've been making them consistently for like a while now, trying to keep them relevant, and now they're Link monsters here. Guardragons came out in my last profile and was still running a pretty like experimental build, but I did get to this now with my friends. I've tested it. Just like most dragon decks, it's really easy to get the Guardragon combos. I'll make some suggestions at the end in terms of what I've noticed in testing and what I might eventually change myself, but so far it's been consistent enough, at least amongst my friends, to where I'm excited to finally get this out there and take it out to play. But let's get into it. So, starting with the main deck, the monster count is a little high, but it kind of works with this because you need a lot of these monsters to be pitched with a lot of your spells and stuff, and it just ends up working out for the best. But going with our Dragunities first, we're going to have 3 Dragunity Ducks. He still will be one of your main cards to search with Dragon's Ravine. Ideally, you want to discard any of your tuners to the graveyard with Dragon's Ravine and then search him out. When he is normal summoned, he is going to equip the Dragunity monster from your graveyard to your hand, and most of the little Dragunity guys special summon themselves when equipped. Up next are our little guys. In my build particularly, I'm still running Phalanx, and I still hate some of the new Dragunity guys that came out besides the little one. So still running 3 Phalanx. Maybe would take this one down to 2 because I hardly go for it as much often as I do Koos, but still nice to run for now. Then 3 Dragunity Koos. Can we please get a holo printing from my boy? But the only difference between Dragunity Koos and Phalanx, they both are level 2 wind dragon tuners, and they both can summon themselves. It's just that Koos can be used for as a level 4, which can help you make your big level 10 guy. So that's what's nice about Koos, and that's it for the little guys. And the last Dragunity monster we are going to run is still, I like 3 of the Missile Tannin, whatever you pronounce it, because the thing is, it can suck to open multiple of these sometimes, but if your opponent has no response, you can just continuously keep sending these little guys away and getting this guy out. Like an ideal little play, if this is in the graveyard and you have these 2 in hand, is you can normal your ducks, equip this, return it, send it to the grave to summon this, equip it, return it, and that's 3. And then if you had more of these in hand, it's not so much of a brick because you can just keep doing it and then at least get yourself set up for some linkage and stuff, you know? And that's just one of the many ways to go. But that's my reasoning for running Missile Tannin still, because he's nice. And I used to run the Twin Triangle Dragon, and I honestly thought that was the only purpose of really running it, but then I've noticed a lot more versatility in it with that. So going on to our generics, which is now kind of a lot, we still run 2 Destrudo. Never really liked more than this. I really only run 2 because he is a Cards of Consonance target, coincidentally, but he is also still really nice to have. The run, Supreme King Dragon Darkworm, our monster count's already high enough, and I don't want to risk bricking with the donut just to have extra search like thinning ability in the deck. Some decks I do like the donut, but in this one, just the Darkworm for a free summon when you need it. The 1 Darkness Metal, because we are still, of course, doing the Guardragon in this version. Unlike my Blue Eyes profile where it said you don't really need the Guardragon, in Dragunities, you can't really just sit on a Crystal Wing, you know, consistently, or just 2 Synchros anymore. You kind of need that extra from the Guardragons. So those guys always help. I've always ran Garuda the Wind Spirit, even back in our Ode profile. I used to run more than 1, but I've learned over time that he's just nice to have at 1. Same thing with Mist Valley Baby Rock. I've always ran him pretty consistent as well. He is just also to just help those like extendy plays where I already just have like some basic things going on. He obviously summons himself when discarded to the graveyard from the hand, so he's nice to use with one of your Synchros, who we'll get into later. Of course, 1 Crusadia Draco. This is something that's changed. I'm not sure if I ran this in the last profile or not, but now that I'm seeing it's more link capability and just the easy access to Guardragons, and the fact that he's a wind also just makes it even better for this deck. So 1 Crusadia Draco, and then just like the Blue Eyes profile, I'm excited to put a Tempest in this deck, which this deck can use it way more and more often than the Blue Eyes deck can. And honestly, Tempest is just really nice. I've been dreaming of Tempest coming back for this deck for a long time, so you honestly have to run Tempest. My next two last techs, which, I mean, a lot of people have always ran this guy, which is Blackwing Zephyros. Zephyros is also a winged beast, which means he can be used for a lot of your synchros, because if some of you don't know, most Dragunities require a dragon tuner and a winged beast monster to make themselves. And then the reason Zephyros is good is because while he's in the graveyard, like, so let's say you open him and a Dragon's Ravine, you can dump him to search a dragon or search a Dragunity or dump a dragon, then pay 400 to return him to the field and bounce your Dragon's Ravine back, and then activate Dragon's Ravine again if you need to. So he'll always be something that I really like. And then something that I still run on my own, honestly, just because he's a pretty easy card to summon. He does suck to have opening hand, but I still run one Dark Samorg because I don't run Twin Twisters or any trap removal in this deck anymore. And the reason why he's nice is because if I get him with one of those hands that's flooded with monsters and like maybe one Dragon's Ravine to help me kind of go off, he's still a winged beast that can be used for my link. And on top of that, he's also just really easy to summon, and he can be kind of annoying against certain decks. So personal preference of mine, but I really like running him. And then the last two cards is what I switched for some basic spot removal, is I put in two Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Sorry about that. One thing I will say is in testing out of everything that I've done with this deck, I would say this deck would probably be better off maining Called by the Grave instead of Hand Traps. Like, for this deck, Hand Traps is probably going to be better for you to side, because now I'm noticing with this deck, especially like even when I don't get the full Guardragon stuff, I can still open a Crystal Wing and something else, so it's still a going first deck. And with that being said, you probably want to do Called by the Grave instead of the Ghost Ogres. It's just I felt like I wanted to give it a little bit more power, but we'll see what happens over time. Alright, so as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, things have changed a little bit, but not too much for us. So we still have our 3 Dragon's Ravine, of course going to be your best card. Well, your best field spell and only field spell, but one of your best cards still. And the 1 Terraforming. Terraforming got hit, not a big deal for Dragunity players, because like I said, our link searches this. And yeah, so we're going to keep that, and it's nice to be able to go into Dragon's Ravine kind of mid-play and not always have to bank on having it in hand if I just have other means of getting monsters out and stuff, so really nice. To help facilitate that whole idea is going to be 2 Dragon Shrine, obviously just a dump. A little bit more broken in Blue Eyes and decks like that, because in here you're just going to be dumping the 1 dragon and opening 2 of this. Always blows, but it's fine. Then 3 World Legacy Guardragon. This is obviously to keep those Guardragon plays going. I mentioned this a lot. I have nothing completely against Guardragons, particularly specifically because I also play some, but I do kind of hope they get hit soon, so dragon decks are forced to be more about their archetype and not so much just getting free abysses and things like that. The last spell we run multiple copies of is going to be 3 cards of consonants. So you have, I believe, 8 targets total, because you have your 2 sets of tuners and then you have the 2 Destrudo. This pretty much, you discard a dragon tuner with 1,000 or less attack and then you draw 2 cards. And almost all those guys you're going to be discarding for this card benefit off of being in the graveyard, so it's really nice. No allure in this deck. Then last is our 1-ofs. We have the 1 Insta-Fusion, the 1 Monster Born, 1 Raigeki, and 1 Foolish Burial. Being a go first, as funny and crazy as this sounds to say, I don't really like Raigeki in this deck sometimes. I kind of wish I would side the board wipes. Like, if I were to ever actually try to compete with this deck, I would probably side board wipes and like Kaiju Slumbers and stuff. But I really like to go first, and to think of more ways to fit in a lot of more turbo spells or things that help that would be nice. A lot of the older, like, little spicy plays, I used to run E-Telly with Pilica just to get extra wind monsters when I relied on the Great Fly for the extra deck. But now, Guardragons just have completely taken over any originality and any spice, unfortunately. So we're stuck with that and stuck with just putting any staples that we can. Now, for the part you've all been waiting for. At least a good couple hundred of you to this deck profile hits 1,000. Dragunity Knight, Romulus. Been waiting for this guy forever. It really sucks how, like, I appreciate all these leak channels and things like that, but it sucks how I see cards that I really want, like, almost a whole year sometimes before their drop rate. Like, that Fire Fist cards, I've heard wind and rumors of them so long ago, I didn't believe it. Now we're getting all this stuff coming out of nowhere, but we've been waiting for this guy as Dragunity players strictly because he adds any Dragunity spell, I believe, spell trap, I personally haven't found a need for the Dragunity. I've seen some spicy combos involving Barcha and the Lance, and like I get that the Lance does give some additional options like for your plays, but me personally, I don't really find that. I just haven't found a nice play for it yet, and I don't really want to bite a lot of people's Why Go Pro combos that I've seen that do involve like some of that stuff. But for me right now, I really just like him to search Dragon's Ravine. Even if he gets me a Dragon's Ravine just so I have something extra to dump in a Dragon's Ravine, you know? But he just takes 2 dragon and or winged beast monsters. That's probably one of the more important things for him. And the other ability is if you summon a dragon to a zone he points to from the extra deck. So, and I don't believe it has to be a Synchro. Yeah, it's just from the extra deck. So to a zone he points to, you're able to summon a dragon from your hand, but its effects negated and it can't be used as link material. But that's nice for just bouncing an extra tuner on field. So if you can get any extra winged beasts on the board before your Guardragons, you still have a way to get an additional Synchro that's not made by your Aggro Pain, which is always really nice to have. So really like him. Actually also thought of something spicy involving him for Gary's Red Eyes Guardragon, and let us know in the comments down below if you want to see that. But sorry to give so much attention to him, but I've been waiting for a goddamn forever it seems, so you're gonna bear with me on that. Moving on to everybody's favorite and yet somebody's worst enemy as well is gonna be our Guardragon package. Pisty LP Aggro Pain, pretty self-explanatory, you guys. Every Guardragon combo is damn near the same, just with different names involved, so I don't really feel like I need to bore you guys with what they do, but you gotta have them just at 1 each, just to get everything out and get a double Saryuja play possibly going. Speaking of, we're gonna run 2 Saryuja still until he gets hit, murdered, burned, or something. 2 Saryuja is pretty much necessary in most Guardragon builds if you want to draw a lot and really fix those hands. Obviously, you could run any rank or link 4 dragon, but Saryuja will just always be one of the best. And that is it for our link monsters. I've kept it really simple right now. Extra deck is one of the least experimental parts of the deck, but going on to our synchros, we run 1 Gator and 1 Vadriana. So Vadriana, honestly, I miss at 2. I've thought about taking Gator out ultimately and just running 2 Vadriana. But at the same time, that kind of just leaves it a little bit of problematic with some of the stuff that I choose to run in the deck. If I did take Gator out, I would obviously probably take out the Mist Valley Baby Rock, because he is what makes that card actually usable. Being a Wend, it's pretty easy for someone to try to force you to miss timing on that guy when he gets ditched for cost or something like that. So you kind of want it to be on Gator's summon to search a dragon or winged beast level 4 lower and then discard one, you know? But that's, yeah, so just these 2 for our level 6s for now. These are going to be your way to climb up into a Crystal Wing, your main ways at least. And that's it for now for them. For our other Dragunity synchros, I am running the 1 Barcha and 1 Ascalon. I run Ascalon because he banishes, and a lot of things nowadays can't be destroyed. I mean, yes, it targets, but a lot of things can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, so the banishing thing is just always really nice. Plus, he's a 3300, which really helps, and if you make him under Saryuja, he'll be 3600. And then Barcha, everybody's gotten in my head about it, from people online to just all the talk in the community to friends. No one's really found anything too nuts with him, but he does summon potentially a bunch of Dragunity monsters if you got a bunch of the babies, because he equips a bunch of Dragunities, but the only ones who can summon themselves are the tuners. So if you can get like 4 or 5 of those in the grave and then summon him, then yeah, obviously he's like a free Saryuja if you link away some of the different names and stuff, you know. But I mean, he's just still nice. He's level 8, pretty easy to make. He can become a strong beater if you do just equip stuff to him, period, like just any Dragunities. But yeah, so just the 1 for now. He has been definitely an experiment, because as much as he's nice in the deck, I don't find myself making him very often, so that's something to take into account. Then the last, the generics are pretty much it for the synchros. So we run 1 Crystal Wing. This is obviously one of your targets for the Aggro Pain, but it is also nicer to make him the right way, so then maybe you can Monster Reborn him later. 1 Savage Dragon, who you're going to always have to make the right way if you want his effect to go off. He's just there for those extensive plays, those really nice hands. And then I did run Abyss for a long time in this version. I run Abyss for most of my other Guardragon decks that do run Guardragons, but me personally, I run Stardust in here. Mainly because he's win and he fits the whole like win thing, not like I'm really restricted on wins anymore. But I really like Stardust because this deck doesn't protect itself that much. So if I can like synchro on my own for a Crystal Wing in the middle of my Guardragon play, and then use the Agar Pain just to summon Stardust, at least I get one negate. Now I can't recur Stardust because he wasn't summoned properly, but it's still nice just to get that extra protection rather than what everybody else is running with the Abyss. Then lastly, I run one Mavelus still to go with the Instant Fusion. This is something I seen years ago in like some Dragunity like deck builds and stuff, and I just always thought it was clever. And I just haven't really been able to get rid of it, because honestly, not having that wing beast on the board sometimes just really sucks, because then you can't synchro for any of your Dragunity stuff for climb or anything like that. But that is it, y'all. I have updated Dragunities as much as I could. Still looking for more and more spicy ways. My only issues with this deck so far is I would like to take the monster count down and screw Guardragons. You know, they destroy originality, but doesn't matter. I mean, at least they did bring one of my favorite dragon archetypes back from the grave, and the link has definitely been a help. I definitely think Dragunities could possibly use more facilitation of their archetype, like more spells and traps that actually do something that matters. You know, it's like kind of like how Glad Beasts have so many spells and traps, but they're so niche and impossible to pull off. It's like, why even have them? So I would like for us to get like a counter trap or something hella good that's actually worth searching with Romulus besides the Lance and the Dragon's Ravine. But until then, we wait. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you want me to go at it with any of the guys with this deck, we've been trying to get some deck videos and profile dual combo things going on for you guys, but we'll see. So holler at us. Until next time.